be talking about the brand new album by The Smile, Wall of Eyes. Wall of Eyes is the second studio album by the English rock band The Smile. It was released on January 26, 2024. The Smile are a three-piece band composed of Tony Skinner on drums and Radiohead musicians Johnny Greenwood and Tom York. So, Eric, your thoughts on Wall of Eyes by The Smile?
This is interesting, and obviously these guys have made other music together. Um, I guess I'll say what I hated about it first,
Mm,
um, because I just did not like. There were very little songs that I liked on this album that I felt like like I really thought that guitar lick from "Read the Room" was really cool.
mm.
Like, it was almost like this just augmented, kind of, like, out of tune chord that just or that riff. Like, it just sounded cool, like, and I do have to say, like, it there is definitely a bit of a Radiohead feel, obviously, like,
Two-thirds of this band is Radiohead.
exactly. Um, but I just don't see any of these songs on this album being like hits or anything that will add
Mm,
like get added to a playlist. Um, uh,
that's true.
it was produced very well,
Yeah.
uh, and I thought like this is definitely like an artsy album, which I'm not really into. It very artsy and very like metaphorical with the lyrics and like I feel like this is a band like even looking at their other album names I think that there's a story that's being told in the entirety of the album. It's like watching a play. Um, and I think the album it does flow very nicely. Like the from song to song, it does have this great flow to it, but I was just bored. I was just very bored listening to this album. Right? Because obviously, like this album definitely like when I heard it, like first time I heard it, I was just like, okay. I felt like I didn't even listen to it because like my mind just
Mm,
started going to somewhere else. And then I try to listen to it again. And I'm like, this is a very obscure album. And then the third time I listened to it, I was actually listening to the lyrics, and this screams paranoia to me. It's like this utopian society that like just like this person almost like losing his mind in this society, which I thought like definitely if this is a concept album and this is what they're going for, they definitely nailed it.
mm.
Um, as for a song I did like, I liked "Read the Room," but I felt like it
Okay.
just got boring after a while.
Okay.
Like if it was like a 2-3 minute song, I would probably think it was really good. But I also really liked "Friend of a Friend," which was
Oh,
number 5.
yeah.
I thought that was a really cool song, and it was really like ominous, and it was kind of just like that perfect like if you want just a taste of paranoia of this album, it's that song because it's like this is a friend of mine, but then it kind of like the music changes into this weird kind of like I don't know what like this creepy sound
Hmm.
that you're like is he the friend or is he not the friend? Like is it just like,
Yeah.
the enemy just fucking with his mind, right? So I thought it was really cool how they did that, but I did not like it in terms of
Ah,
like musically.
interesting.
Like it's weird. Like I know it sounds like I'm saying a lot of positive things, but I actually didn't enjoy this
You
album.
didn't enjoy it.
So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So for this album, I would say I would probably never recommend this album to anyone
Yeah, I
unless
agree.
unless you are a fan of present day Radiohead. That's how I would describe it. If you like Radiohead's last, let's say, 4 or 5 records, I think you'll really like this record because present day Radiohead doesn't really care about song form or being catchy or trying to write a hook or anything. All they care about is just telling a story and producing new soundscapes, putting in new sounds, putting things together that normally most people wouldn't think about putting together. and just like experimental and ambient and all those things. So like if you like present day Radiohead, I think you would like this record. Um,
Mm.
that said, this record is a very slow burn. I'm surprised you like Read the Room, or is it one of your top tracks on this album? Because I find the beginning of this album to be very slow. Like it
Yeah.
is very hard to get into this record when you first listen to it, because the beginning is like, this sounds cool, but I don't think I can focus and listen to this and like understand what's going on.
Mm.
Um, but it really, for me, it really does amp up towards the end. This is one
Mm.
of the records where the beginning is slow and then the rest of the record is just like, it's just lights. It's so good at the
Mm.
end of this record. It goes into like a heavy distortion, and like my favorite track is the second last one, Bending Hectic. Like I love this song. When it goes into that heavy distortion part right at the end, it's just this is perfect Radiohead esque music. Like
Mm.
it's just so good. And even in that song, there's so many innovative things. Like the main melody or riff, however you want to call it, it's literally Johnny like tuning his guitar to make that riff. So he's just like strumming the string and he's just tightening the string and detuning the string to get that riff going.
Mm.
I just found that so cool. And then I can't remember which song it is, but there's a song, there's actually, I think the multiple songs that are 5/4 on this record, but there's one song that's in 5/4, and if you like listen really carefully, Tom York is counting in five. He's just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's like, it's so haunting.
I
Like,
didn't even hear that.
yeah, just in the background. If you really pay attention, he's actually counting in
Mm.
five in like the background, and it's just so cool because it's like, oh my god, this is genius. You're just turning like a rudimentary like musical concept and making it into
Mhm.
a song. I just like it. This is brilliant.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That is so I gotta go back and listen to that because these guys definitely don't need to count the whole time that they're playing
yeah,
because 'cause they're
yeah,
talented.
yeah,
So, like, that they just purely did that, like you said, for just that purpose,
yeah,
just to have that in there.
yeah,
That is cool.
yeah,
I should check that out.
yeah. So like this record, for the first time I listened to it, I was like, what the hell is this record? Like, I don't even know what I just listened to it. But the more I listen to it, the more it's just like, this thing's like a freaking genius piece of art. Like, it is
Mhm.
such a good record. Um, it is I will admit, it is a very difficult record to get into. So like you listen to it once, most people, probably 99% of people are not going to like it. It's not one of those like catchy pop records where you're like, I really like this, I could dance this. That's not this record. This is a record where you just like listen to it over and over again, and at some point it just clicks and you just like, I get it now. I get
Mhm.
why this record is written this way. I get why these
Mhm.
songs are in the specific order they're in, and it's just like, I don't know. I
Well,
just love this album.
yeah, and it's interesting that you say that because, like, the more like, the first time I listened to it, I thought that I just forgot I was listening to the album.
Yeah.
Right? But the more I actually, like, tried to sit down and listen to it, the more stuff I appreciated
Yeah.
about it. So, I think it's gonna be funny because even though I said I didn't enjoy it, I'm gonna give it an interesting score that people are gonna be like, "You don't know what the fuck you're talking about." Like, that's what's gonna happen here.
Yeah. And like I'm sure like I'm not much of a lyrics type of person, but if I'm sure if you really dug into Tom York's like
Mhm.
lyrics into this, I'm sure there's a whole other dimension that
It
I'm not
yeah,
even seeing. Yeah.
it's pretty cool. Like, I just it was almost like the musical version of, like, a 1984.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's what it was just like this society where it's almost like just paranoia sits in. You just feel like people are watching you. And it's just like, are my friends who my friends are? Like, who do I trust? Like, it's just like this album is paranoia to its like max.
Yeah.
Like, and it was kind of cool listening to that. But just even with like I appreciate this band being able to take lyrics and mixing them with the actual sounds of their instruments
Hmm.
and making it sound and just really drive that force into you. Because like even that even in Read the Room, like the like it just sounds very just like creepy,
Yeah.
right? It's almost like I just feel like something's watching me from behind, you know, like what is happening.
Yeah.
And that was actually like I forgot I was listening to it. It's the third song on the track, and when that came on I was just like, wait, what is that? Right? So
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So like ultimately the record is not poppy at all. It is very ambient and experimental and progressive. But you know, if you give it the time, I feel like you'll have a better appreciation the more you listen to it.
Mhm.
But if you are looking for something that you're gonna dance to and just like hum for the rest of the day, this is not this record.
Yeah, this isn't gonna be on the Grammys
Yeah,
for next year.
there's no way.
Or
So
sorry, the award show. We have to come up with a name for this goddamn thing.
alternate name, yeah.
That's two controversial things I've said today.
Okay, let's go final. Actually, before final ratings, so I was doing some reading on this record. And apparently, and I haven't verified any of this, but a lot of these songs, were the song titles or certain lyrics in these songs are actually mentioned in Radiohead songs. So if you go
Really?
back to like "Hail to the Thief," in the liner notes of like the booklet on the CD, they mention like Wall of Eyes or Read the Room in the
Oh,
actual liner notes. There's a whole like
interesting.
dissecting universe and like they're referencing old songs that they've written.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's insane.
these guys are freaking geniuses. Anyways, final thoughts, ratings. Eric, what are you gonna give this one?
So, again, I didn't hate it, but I didn't enjoy it. Whatever the hell that means in my brain. So I'm actually going to give this a 5 out of 10
Oh, okay.
because I appreciate what this band has done, and you know like I don't know, like I have a little like the musician in me has that like artistic thing in my heart, just saying like, you know, like these guys are definitely don't care. They're not here to make a an album of the year. They just want to do like, you know what, I want to do this project. I've always wanted to do this. Let's do it.
Yeah,
And that's what this feels like to me. So I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. So
nice. So I actually really like this record. So I
mm.
am this is my new benchmark for this year. It is a 9 out of 10 for me on this record.
Wow,
Yeah.
Kem
It's the
pulling out the nine.
I just can't give it a 10 out of 10 because even if this is like such an artsy record and it's like I still think it is a perfect record where you know all the songs make sense and like
Mhm,
I love what they do on it, all the experimentation. At a certain point you also have to write something that's catchy. Like
mhm.
you need a reason to come back to this record and not
So they
just
lose 1 point.
yeah, so like it has to be artistically fulfilling, but at some point it also
Mm,
has to be like, oh yeah, I know that song. Like for me, the whole
yeah.
album doesn't feel like 8 songs. It just feels like a soundscape, the whole album.
Mm.
Right? Like I'm never gonna go in and just listen to Friend of a Friend. I'm literally just listening from front to back this whole record in one shot.
Yeah, you can't listen to this single-handedly, like,
Yeah.
you there's just no way because you're just instantly gonna hate it if I it's like, this isn't yeah, you have to sit down and listen to the full thing,
Yeah. It doesn't make sense to
100%.
just listen to track 6. It like the
Yeah.
song doesn't make sense if you do that. So it is for me it is a perfect record, but on the other hand it's like you can't really there's nothing catchy in it.
Mhm. Exactly.
So 9 out of 10 for me, and this is my benchmark for this year, so we'll see if something beats it,
Mm.
but so far
I don't know, the way that this year is going so far, it's not looking promising on my end. on my end of things. You have your benchmark.
Yeah.
Where's my benchmark album here?
We'll see. Maybe it'll be the next
Mhm.
record. So
Maybe.
the record for next week that we're going to be listening to and discussing is the brand new Alkaline Trio album, Blood, Hair, and Eyeballs. So if you need an introduction to Alkaline Trio, when Tom DeLonge left Blink 182, he was replaced by Matt Skiba. And Matt Skiba, this is his original band.
Mm.
Um, Once he got kicked out of Blink 182, he basically restarted this project. So,
Hmm.
uh, Erica, I think you're going to like this record. I feel like you're going to like this record.
Nice. I
Um,
have it. I have it lined up. It's ready. It's ready to
so
listen.
So that'll be the record for next week. And that's it for the podcast. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We're here at twitch.tv/the Crossroads Music Podcast every 10 p.m. ET on Mondays. Catch us on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. The videos are up. The album reviews are up. So there's 3 videos on the channel that you can yell at us about. But that's basically it for this week. Are signing off now. Thanks everyone for tuning in chat. Eric, any closing thoughts, statements, prayers?
DJ Doge, I hope you're listening to this or use that as your marketing scheme for your piano dog treat thing. And cheers.